All right, absolutely.
And,
Well,
and how do I look? My eyes are good?
you look
My
stunning.
my eyes are
look
good?
Perfect.
Good? My eyes are good?
You look good.
Just make sure you focus on my good eye. I was just making a joke! Nobody got my joke! Nobody got my joke!
We made it funny.
I was making it funny!
I'm Bradley McGinnis, and I'm with Pop Culture Bento, and Anjali Bhimani. Anjali Bhimani. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your
the
day.
first time.
I know. Sorry.
That's awesome. The cool thing is that I actually find it is a point of conversation with many, many people.
Really?
Because then people start asking about the origin of the name and all of that, and that's kind of fun. So you nailed it on the first try.
All right, cool. All right, so there's so many questions I want to start with, but let's see. Is there anything? Because you've probably had bombarded with questions. Is there any topic you want to start with?
Oh gosh.
Is there something just you want to tell the world?
Yeah,
I'll put the ball in your court
I've said
for
this.
one.
I've been saying this all weekend. You know, we get to go to a lot of conventions, and there's always a tremendous community there, and I'm always blown away by the creativity and the kindness, and how everyone takes care of each other and allows everybody to be themselves. And at this particular convention, the level of cosplay that I've seen has just been phenomenal. I have been totally fangirling over everybody's costumes and stuff. I've been photobombing, just to ask if I can get pictures of people in their Overwatch costumes because they're so good. There's just been a level of creativity that's been absolutely mind-blowing. And this is my first time at Katsucon, so I'm really, really excited to be here.
Well, and that goes for us as well.
Okay.
So it's a wonderful first time for both of
Nice.
us. And I'm also blown away by the level of passion, creativity, and diligence that goes into the outfits. And it's not just about the outfits. It's I'd call it even an expression of your soul, even when you're
Absolutely.
mimicking a character from a certain franchise, game, series, what have you. And it's really an expression of yourself. And you could feel that passion in every stitch, in every armor layer, in every tape job. It's just
Well, I know this may sound stupid that it took me this long to figure it out, but I feel like it makes sense to me now, the term cosplay as opposed to wearing costumes. Because if you were just wearing costumes, there's not the sense of play, the sense of owning the character. You know, you see people doing photo shoots as the character and in the moves and doing videos and all this stuff, and I'm like, that's what we do for a living. Only you get to do it in really cool superhero costumes. So someday I hope to do that, in a Marvel film or something like that. But in the meantime, people are taking in their just showing their creativity in such incredible ways, and I'm absolutely blown away.
Is there now? You are, of course, the voice for Symmetra in Overwatch. We're all huge fans of the game, the character. How did you get on board with that?
I wish I could give you a sexier story. It's honestly like there was an audition that my agent got for me, and I auditioned for the role, and I lucked out and got the role. For most jobs, that's essentially the way it would happen.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And one thing we were interested about is that how far along the design process for the character, how much of it was set in stone prior to you getting there? Did you have a decent say in how the final look of the character would
In
be?
terms of my say, no. But I've heard from people on the development team that once the voice actors were hired, it started to form a little more of what they had already put together, that they started to change things up a little bit to suit people. And that's really, really cool to know that there was some kind of new adaptation that happened, because obviously the development team's been working on this forever. They were 10 years or something like that. So they've had these ideas worked out to a T, whether we were in it or not. But I hear that there were some ways that once they met us, they're like, oh, well, this person's a little more, oh, let's add this. I know, this is a great story. When Crispin Freeman, who plays Winston, came into his recording session, he has glasses. And at one point, he either took off his glasses or put them on and pushed them up or something. And they were like, oh, wait, can you do that again? And they used that as Winston's glasses in that was kind of the inspiration, or not maybe the inspiration, but that was one of the ways that they modeled that.
And I think that's absolutely crucial for any character development. If something's already established, that you pay attention to the actors that are participating behind the scenes for the voice acting, because who wouldn't want to inject some of their personality into a character that you're associated with, that you're putting your name with, and they can represent a part of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, do you actually do you like to play?
I do like to play. I play really poorly, but I really enjoy it when I do. Mostly for comedy because I'm really bad at it. But I'm trying. I'm learning, and I am getting better. I haven't had enough time to really have a streak, to kind of keep going and build momentum. So it's usually like I'll play an hour here, and then 3 weeks later I'll play an hour there.
Like a healthy human being.
No, it's not so much a healthy human being, but it's like, I want to focus because I really want to get good at it. And I also really want to learn. There is a hand-eye coordination situation that I am just not quite getting with first-person shooters, and I would really love to. I'd love to hone that because I feel like there's just like there's a speedy thing that goes on in your brain with first-person shooters that I don't have yet.
In between, let's say console or PC, you're always going to get a higher precision when you go PC than you do for console.
And I have console, and I don't know how to use a console. Like this has been my first console experience because I was a gamer. First, I was a tabletop gamer as a kid, and then
Dungeons and Dragons?
Yes, 100%. Won the 4th grade spelling bee because of D&D, because no other 9-year-old knew how to spell vengeance.
The winning edge.
That's why you have your kids do role-playing games, mom and dad, because they will study and they will learn critical thinking. Look, this is my pitch. They will. No, there's so much cool stuff.
Please go on.
RPGs are amazing to me. There's creativity. There's critical thinking. There's teamwork. There's improvisation. You watch Stranger Things and you see the young kids playing the game and how it affects them and how it affects them being able to solve major problems.
Yeah, it actually has a real impact on how they're dealing with these larger-than-life supernatural threats in their town.
Exactly. No, I'm a huge fan of RPGs as an educational tool. Role-playing games, not RPG, the weapon. Like role-playing games. Let's just get that clear about role-playing games. Okay, let's make that clear. That is what I'm talking about. Woof. But anyway, I started as a tabletop gamer, and then I started playing on the PC. I would play like Neverwinter Nights and Baldur's Gate, so those same games, but so that I didn't have to get through a whole campaign and find all my friends and set up a time. And then once first-person shooters began being really popular was kind of when I backed off. Like when Doom became a big thing, I was like, I liked the story games a lot,
absolutely. Which
is why now with Overwatch, even though it is a first-person shooter, for some reason saying that every single time I've said that, I've been like, first-person shooter. Even though it has so much story behind it that I find it intriguing.
Absolutely, the lore and everything behind it, and it does fall under the first-person genre for me. But because every character is so unique, it almost seems like more of a first-person brawler or action title than strictly shooter.
Yep, exactly. And I love all the characters and how unique they are and how multi-layered they are, and that there's a way for everyone to get into this game, even if they're not a player. They can get into it by the stories. They can get into it through the characters. They can get into it through the art.
The art, the fan art, and that's Blizzard's way of saying, share with us your ideas.
Well, but honestly, like the artists of tomorrow, the artists of the people who are going to be creating the next Blizzard or working at Blizzard are the people who are developing their art that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the more that gets encouraged, whether by Blizzard or anyone else, the better, because then we have greater animation and greater games going forward. Yeah,
because the majority of and we were here yesterday, took a bunch of photos left, right, sideways, and we saw plenty of Overwatch cosplayers, but not just the main skins, but the costumes, the seasonal stuff too. And it's great to see how some of those take off. Even like the core concept of the character is there, and that's great. But then it's a jumping board for just further costumes, and even an evolved identity with these new costumes. So it's no longer like. Prime example, McCree, with his Old West outfit, that's Danny, but then when he's rocking like the American flag, it's like, whoa,
you're like, that's a totally different thing.
It's like America McCree.
We got a bunch of dad 76s out there just coming along with their kids. And I'm like, awesome, something for everyone.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, exactly. Like all of a sudden he's got a spatula and he's got his kids. It's awesome.
I love that element. And that's actually something I wanted to get into too, is because these cons are great for the fans and just everybody in this sort of culture, this world, to really enjoy what they do, but it's also a way to pass on. It's a bonding experience with family. You can pass on what you love to your kids, and then it continues down the line. Because there's really, I'd say as a fan, there's something for everybody here.
Absolutely. I so agree. And I love seeing families at these things. I love what I'm like, I want to tell every parent that brings their child to one of these, I want to be like, you are the greatest dad and mom, you're the greatest mom and dad. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for supporting your child's enthusiasm for anything. Even if you might not, if you think it's weird, but you don't care, you're bringing your kids to it, and you see them light up like that, that gives them the ability to choose what they find as their passion going forward. Because like even I was talking about this before, even the labels of nerd and geek and whatever, really they just mean people who are exceptionally knowledgeable and enthusiastic about one particular thing. And sometimes that particular thing might not be as mainstream as something else, but it is focus, it is enthusiasm, it is studying, it is knowledgeability. It's all these things that, those are the people that are going to run the world.
And I believe those labels have changed for the better over time. I could
agree.
not be, for me to be alive at a time where I'm a nerd geek, whatever have you, I wear that as a badge of honor.
Amen.
You see some of my childhood heroes, properties, everything come from the big screen, and just some of the comics develop over time. Manga, anime, across the board, you name it, I'm probably a fan of it. It's just seeing all this stuff come to light and just gain so much traction in various facets of society. It's unreal.
It's really special. It makes me happy. And then it allows people to develop their own unique way of going through life, because there's something for everyone, rather than you have to fit in this mold in order to succeed.
And these people are some of the most interesting around.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, and looking at your background, you have quite the professional background as well. You've done Broadway, you've done TV shows. I even checked your YouTube channel for a bit. It's delightful. I saw the Crispin Freeman video.
Oh, great.
And that was a treasure.
Yeah.
What's been one of your favorite ventures aside from, I guess, okay, let's say you've done voice acting, you've done live action roles, and you've participated across the board. What would you say is one of your favorite? I know voice actors tend to love what they do because, hey, I can go to work in my pajamas today if I feel like.
I wish, every time someone asks me this, my brain starts to, like, smoke comes out of my ears trying to decide because I can't figure it out.
Right.
It's really impossible for me to choose because at any one given moment, I will be working on something and loving the medium I'm working in and missing the one that I'm not, both at the same time.
I can understand that.
Because every single medium that I've worked in has something about it that is just like, I just want to eat it up. It's so much fun. Voice acting, yeah, you can go to work in your pajamas. I never do because it's stylish. But, so that's great. But, voice acting, it doesn't matter what I look like. I can play anything as long as I sound like it. That's exciting. But then I'm also limited to using a part of my, mostly one part of my instrument. I can't use physicality. I can use it to make my voice do things.
Right, but you won't see it.
But you won't see it. So there's a challenge there, and I miss being able to have that connection when I'm doing theater, and I have this live connection with the people in the audience, and we have this unspoken pact that, like, for an hour and a half or 3 hours, we're all going to sit in this room, we're going to live this story together, and you guys are going to focus on me, and I'm going to focus on you, and it's going to be awesome, and then we're all going to go back home. So that's really, really yummy. But then in that medium, you don't necessarily get to portray the intimacy that you might be able to portray in television, where I can be right up in someone's face and, like, you can see a single tear, and I can be talking this quietly, and it doesn't matter. I'm getting everyone who's watching, because everyone who's watching is watching at home on their television. And so there's this beautiful ability to be the fly on the wall as an audience member when you're doing television or film. Then we don't really get that when we're in theater, because it's definitely a presentation. So I love them all so much, and I think I'm a little bit too indecisive and fickle to pick one, so I just want all of them.
Well, that's not bad, because that gives you a whole bunch of experience in a bunch of different areas of the biz or the industry.
Yeah.
I can, just from that, I can tell how passionate you are about your craft. Like, I could feel that.
I am. I'm passionate about not even just the craft, like not the doing of it, but the sharing of the experience. Because as an actor, look, if you're not doing it for other people, if you don't have some higher reason for doing it, then it's kind of a silly job. Then you're playing pretend for a living. If you're doing it for fame, if you're doing it for money, if you're doing it for all those reasons, for me personally, that wouldn't sustain me. But for me, being able to tell the people in the audience, whether actually tell them or not, for this next period of time, I got you. You get to have this experience that I'm going to experience for you, and you can have all the emotions you want, but at the end, you get to go back to your life. You are totally safe. But I got you. I'm going to do this for you, because I'm an overly emotional person, and that's the way I get to use my emotions for the powers of good, is that I can make all this happen here, and then we'll all go back to our lives. That, to me, is really exciting, to be able to give that gift to people, and then to see them, and then this comes full circle, why I love coming to the cons, to see and talk to people one-on-one and hear their experiences of something that we might have put out there, that one of us might have put out there. That right there, that's the sauce. That's the thing that makes me like want to do this until I'm 98.
That's the sauce. I'm gonna keep that one.
That's
if
the
you
sauce.
don't mind
I love
if I do that.
That's the sauce. Yum 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 yum.
That might replace my now we're cooking with gas.
Oh yeah, no, the sauce. It's all about the sauce. It's all about the sauce.
It's it really is just an honor to be able to do this with you. It's a delight, and you have your. I don't want to say you have your like too many preconceived notions about a star or somebody in the industry before you do it. And depending on your exposure, like let's say your character in Overwatch, things like that, that might paint an impression of what you may be. But it's always nice to see the real person behind the voice, the face, and it's just it's really wild. You come across as such a genuine fan and just such a delightful personality.
Oh, thank you. I'll pay you later.
But I wanted to go into maybe some of like the fandom that you've experienced here. Do you find that they can pick you out from a crowd? Like, have people been asking you to do the pictures on the side?
Yeah, I mean, obviously at a convention, when you're walking
right
around,
among the people that know what they're there
obviously
for.
people here do. It does. I am surprised that it happens as much as it does in the rest of the world as Symmetra. Not as surprised from my TV work and stuff like that I expect. Although I'm always really tickled when it happens from someone who saw a play too, because that's a rare thing. That someone's like, I saw you in this play 10 years ago and I remember your face. Like, you were amazing. I can't remember what I had for breakfast. Like, that's phenomenal. But I wonder if it's, well, I shouldn't say I wonder if it's, I think it's because Blizzard has been so great about supporting the voice actors, and we have wanted to be out in the community so much, whether in person or online or wherever. So I think a lot more people recognize our faces than normally would necessarily from being voice actors, which is a lovely thing. And I love it when people stop me and say something about it, because I feel like I'm doing a good job if people are being touched by it.
And you are certainly doing a good job. If all the host of fans that are either just they love Overwatch or doing Symmetra and your other works too, I mean, it's just it must be, when you look into a fan that truly appreciates what you're doing, I mean, that must just be indescribable.
Yes. I mean, I just like completely lost my words. The reason I stuttered is because when you said when you look into a fan, I'm assuming you look into a fan's eyes and you see that. I don't really love to call them fans.
Correct.
Because and it's not a bad word, but because when I'm meeting folks here at the conventions, I'm meeting the people, and I forget that might be a dynamic of a fan thing, because for me, I'm like, ooh, who are you? What excites you? What's your name?
Right, absolutely.
And so that to me is exciting, because then it's like finding someone you made a difference with on the street, in the world, outside, at dinner, whatever. That to me is very, very exciting, and I think sometimes there are some people in this field who prefer to keep a distance in that way. I don't. Which, I don't know, this might be the kiss of death, and I might like all of a sudden regret saying that, but I'm like, please talk to me. Let's do it. I want to hear what your thing is. What do you, like, I want to meet people and find out what their jam is and help them get it. And
I think we can, as fans or admirers, people that love what you do, what you're involved, we can sense that.
I hope so.
And it improves the relationship between you and the admirers, the people.
I hope so. And you can call them fans. I'm just saying, like, for me, it always strikes me, again, like, even when someone says celebrity or famous or star, I'm like, what? Who? Someone? Are you talking about that person back there? Because we just chatting. But I understand the sentiment behind it. I totally get that.
And we can, and I like to think, for me as a fan, I love it when someone's really into what they're doing. I mean, not necessarily let the role consume them, because they're still a separate person, absolutely. Right. But when they feel true passion for what they're doing, and then it's like, hey, I actually like what I do at my job. This is neat, and I want to share it with everybody. You can tell.
Well, more often than not, the biggest problem I have is slowing down and taking good care of myself, because I'm just like, I want to do all the things. Okay, so we're going to go to this convention, then we're going to fly home at midnight, and then tomorrow morning I'm going to shoot something, and then we're going to do this video, and blah, 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 blah. Like, that is the hardest thing, because it's just, that's the biggest challenge, is not wanting to do everything.
And it
yummy.
must be, and I kind of get that sentiment, wanting to do all the things when I go to a con and I see all the amazing like costume ideas.
Right.
I want that. I want a piece of that. I need to make 5 of those.
Yes, exactly. And I'm like walking through the exhibitors hall, and I feel like I have to have blinders on and be like, don't buy it, don't do it, don't do it. There's so many things, you want it all. It's
Yeah,
all
like
so
never
cool.
mind trying to keep up with all these different stories, the anime, manga, comics, you name it. Yeah, and then trying to make costumes of all your favorite characters.
I don't know how
my
people do
goodness.
it. Like, I haven't been shopping in a year and a half. I don't know how people do it. I think I actually bought this a year and a half ago.
People are amazing. I found that there's so much that goes into what they do that it's like, wow, you are, I can imagine you're like an engineer, or you are great when it comes to sewing. You know, you're maybe graphic design or just clothing design.
And yet there are so many people who have backgrounds in something completely different, and that's just a passion.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's one of their. I don't want to call it a hobby, because when you get to this level and you take it to the degree that you do, it's a core part of who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, like I've said it before, I'm just blown away by the commitment here.
Yeah, and this is the first time I've been to Gaylord too, so it's just it's such a grand spectacle.
Right, so beautiful here, right? We walked in and I was like, oh, the sun, look. Look, Toto.
Where's that choir music come from?
I know. It's like, who's singing? I feel like angels are calling from above.
And it's one of those, like, I knew I fell into this community when I was a young lad, a wee tyke.
A wee tiny boy.
It's a wee tiny boy. I am full-blooded Irish too.
Oh,
so
okay. Then I won't say that.
No.
No, because then I'll say that, and then I'll be like, that was a terrible Irish accent, Anjali. Terrible Irish accent.
But and I think it started like back in the day, where one of my favorite animation blocks was Toonami, Cartoon Network, and by one of my favorite fans, favorite guys, Steve Bloom.
Yes, he's here.
I know.
Steve, awesome. I love Steve.
I met him at Tidewater Comic-Con, and he signed an autograph, and we got a picture with each other.
Yeah.
And so hopefully, and is just doing stuff like this allows us to. It's just me being the fan and getting to meet these people in real life. It's just. Yeah. It's like, hey, you were part of my childhood, you were part of me growing up, and thank you for that. Like, I want to thank you for helping me growing up. So it looks like we're getting close to the,
What do you have down the...
Oh, yes, so absolutely. What are some of the things you have in the works?
Well, I have a few shows coming up. There's a new show on ABC coming out called Alex Inc. with Zach Braff. And I cannot tell you who I play.
Fair enough.
You will be seeing me down the line as someone rather significant, so I'm very excited about that. The premiere is on March 28th, and I will be in the 3rd episode.
Okay.
And then sundry places after that. And then I have an episode of a show called AP Bio, which just came out, which is super awesome. Yes. Oh my God, how funny is that show? Super awesome, super excited about that with my awesome friend Jean Villapeak, who I know from school, and I like it's super fun. So doing that, and obviously I have conventions all down the line. So please check me out on the Twitter and the Facebook and all the things the kids use these days. And I was
going to ask you about that. What's your preferred?
First of all, you can find me anywhere online. I'm very easy to find if you spell my name right. Even if you spell it wrong, Google will correct you. But on most social media, I'm Sweet Anj with 3 E's. SWEEETANJ. Don't ask me why. Actually, you can ask me why. In high school, my nickname was Sweet Anj. They would always say that, so I thought that's how you spelled it, apparently. I don't know what I was thinking. So that you can find me there, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, I'm just my name. What's the other one? What am I missing? Twitter, Instagram, Facebook? I don't know. That sounds.
I feel like they're coming out with more and more every day.
They are. I'm going to stick with those 3. We're going to call it there. And then, anyone who wants to send in questions for my I Am Fun Size series, you can always email me at anjali@iamfunsize.com.
And that's your YouTube series.
That is my YouTube series. Yeah. So if there are questions about stuff you're dealing with or whatever, I am not a doctor. I'm not a professional therapist or anything like that. But I am a human. And so I will share my experience. I am also a human. You too are a human. We have so much in common. Yeah. Look at us. I love that we're talking like this all of a sudden. We should end this interview talking like this.
Indubitably. So I'm Bradley McGinnis with Pop Culture Bento. And thank you for Anjali Bhimani for your time. It was amazing meeting you.
Thank you so much. You guys go eat up your Pop Culture Bento. Nom, 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 nom.